Back, everybody, to game number 3 between No Fear Wolves and Fever. We have game 3 just ready. The draft is ready to go. Cam, are you excited? Are you hyped? Are you ready for this battle for second place?
I'm very hyped. This game 3 is going to be deciding who gets the bye for both of these teams, as this game being 1-1 in this series so far, we're assuming that it will not be losing too many games next week. But if both of these teams do 3-0 next week, then this game is the decider of who gets that bye in playoffs.
Yes, No Fear Wolves does have to match up versus CB Rush, which will be a tough matchup for them.
Yes.
But as long as I believe the standings shake out just similar to how they are right now, they should have that second seed locked up with the 2-1 win against Fever this week. But we will have to see. But as we are transitioning into the draft flow, we are seeing similar bans for the side of No Fear Wolves, which actually a mix-up. We are going to be seeing the Thresh banned away instead in this game, instead of the Volibear, as well as the Zaya and Tristana.
Yeah, Volibear not being banned game 3 is definitely because we haven't mentioned this quite yet. Zongi is being subbed out for Shinyuna, I do believe is how you pronounce their name, because Zongi's internet is actually currently not functioning. So being subbed out in this deciding game is definitely going to be putting a dent in that team synergy that they've definitely worked all season for.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate, but it is just a kind of a product of online play. But hopefully Shinyuna can kind of come in, energize the team after that game 2 loss. We do see No Fear Wolves taking away that Xin Zhao pick. It is the first time we're going to be seeing it this series, as it was banned out by Fever in every single game previously. It is a ban that is being swapped out now with that Viego pick. I believe they don't want to give it over to No Fear Wolves, so now Xin Zhao goes over No Fear Wolves. But on the side of Fever, they are going to be picking up the Nautilus and Lee Sin, which is Shinyuna's favorite jungler. So kind of getting him comfortable, getting him ready to perform in this game number 3.
Absolutely, and Lee Sin is still that super powerful flex pick. I don't believe he was actually nerfed in this current. Actually, I think he was nerfed. His E was nerfed slightly, so he might not be going lane just because of that, and especially if it is a comfort pick for Shinyuna in that jungle. But still holding that potential 3 flex is a very powerful early pick for Red Side. Then again, we do get to see this Aphelios.
Yeah, it looks like they're just going to probably try to do a similar Aphelios plus a defensive support like the Brahmin game number 2, as they are going to be able to lock it in. It was an incredibly strong combo. It was able to just kind of hold out in the team fights, and you saw that Epic Fail guy was just DPSing after DPSing, getting so much damage out in those team fights. As Fever are looking, hovering the Kalista. I'm not going to get baited by it. Only one man that I know in mid league can play Kalista to an average level, which is Beastlance. No flame, but I hate that champion. But Kaisa is going to be the pick for the side of Fever. I like this pick from the side of Evil Zara. We're seeing kind of 2 incredibly strong duos, the Aphelios Braum being able to kind of synergize with just defensiveness and keeping the Aphelios alive, the hyper carry, and Kaisa Nautilus, this kind of season 10, early season 11 comp that was so strong, because Nautilus goes in, lands the CC, and applies so much plasma that Kaisa just comes in as this assassinating carry and just blows everything up.
Absolutely, we got to see Aphelios pop off in game 2 just a little bit with that Quadra kill, and then game 3 now, getting that Aphelios again is definitely going to be fun, especially into a Kaisa, where, like you're saying, this bot lane is going to be filled with kills. The Braum, the Nautilus, if either one of them find any CC, that should be a pretty free kill for these super high damage ADCs.
And it looks like as we are transitioning to the second round of pick and bans, we are going to be seeing the Set and Shen taken away from Fever, while the Fiora Zero are going to be taken away from the side, or Fever is going to be taken away from the side of No Fear Wolves, just not wanting to play against that pick, as the Kennen is locked in. This is going to be a stubby pick. This is actually one of his flex picks that he likes to play. So I'm excited to see what he does, because we haven't seen Kennen in a really long time. He's kind of aged out of the top lane, but he's still that poke lane bully that can turn into that massive team fight kind of mage assassin in the mid game.
We are definitely going to have to look towards those Kennen ults in these team fights, as we did have to look for those Azir ults last game. Now it's going to be Kennen, as like you're saying, if he finds those flash ults, it is definitely going to be huge. And now another pick that we don't get to see very often is that Vladimir for No Fear Wolves.
Yeah, it feels like we're going back to season 4 top lane, the Vladimir versus Kennen just kind of chilling out. I assume it's probably going to be a Vladimir in that mid lane. Obviously, items like, I believe, why am I blanking? The AP CDR speed item that Vladimir likes to build. Am I blanking on it super hard right now?
It's a proto belt?
No, proto belt obviously, but what's the CDR one that I'm just blanking on right now? I'm so sad.
Couldn't tell you.
Cosmic Drive. Cosmic Drive.
Oh, right.
Cosmic Drive. It's an item that Vladimir loves because it gives him all the stats he likes. AP doesn't give him any wasted stats like mana. It gives him CDR. It gives him movement speed. It's kind of a perfect Vladimir item, and once the buffs came through, I was expecting a little bit of Vladimir play, but we are going to be seeing now the Vladimir probably in that top lane, the Galio mid with the Xin Zhao, this early aggressive jungler, and this is a really strong comp for the side of No Fear Wolves as Fever round out their comp with the Orianna last pick. This is explosive and spicy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Ken and Orianna, name a better wombo combo. You have that shockwave into the Maelstrom. It's just, if either one of those hits, it's almost guaranteed for the other one to hit as well. And if you're hitting that on multiple people, that's going to be absolutely huge in this late game. But on the other side, for No Fear Wolves, I mean, you're going to be expecting Skiz to be invading a whole lot on the Xin Zhao, and then you have that super easy follow-up with this Galio, with this Braum. Could be very disastrous for Shin Yuna in this jungle, especially if they're not particularly comfortable playing jungle.
And I agree with what you're saying. The Kennen Orianna, the Wombo, the AP magic damage kind of bursting through, just wiping everybody on No Fear Wolves. But you do have to kind of factor in what Galio is as a champion. Now he's kind of transitioned, obviously, into this mid lane stalwart against magic damage, but also his ultimate gives so much MR shielding that it's kind of rough playing Kennen Orianna into this comp, because you have the Galio ulti that kind of stops anyone from diving through. You also have Xin Zhao that's able to knock back any Kennen ulti. I know back in the day, Janna used to be kind of a counter to Kennen because Kennen goes in, Janna knocks him away. Kind of Xin Zhao does pretty similar things. So it's going to be really hard because I can see a world where Kennen goes in, but everybody in his team can't follow up. And so it's going to be hard for Fever to really execute. This is a really high skill cap comp. And I'm surprised they're kind of pulling it out in game number 3 when they're running a substitute jungler. It feels like the wrong place to add kind of a lot of difficulty into execution. For the side of No Fear Wolves, though, I feel like this comp is... I like it. I think Xin Zhao is super strong. I think Galio is a really good stalwart mid lane that can always roam anytime Xin Zhao just does aggressive things. And Vladimir is just that scaling threat in the top side that's not going to be really pressured by the Kennen. So in terms of comp-wise, I favor No Fear Wolves. What are your thoughts on these comps, Cam?
I mean, I definitely agree. I think Fever is so hard relying on the wombo combo from Ken and Orianna, where yes, if they do land it, that's going to be huge. But if they miss either one of those ults, or if one of them is used before a crucial team fight, then they're losing a lot of their potential power. So like you're saying, it's a very high skill cap comp in a game 3 that matters so much before playoffs that you are deciding who gets that buy. So just for that and ease of comp execution, I'm going to be going for No Fear Wolves game 3. I believe I actually predicted them all 3 games today, so hopefully I'm going to be 2 for 1.
I do want to say something that I want to mention, and a champion that we haven't seen in the series at all that's kind of surprising is that Rumble pick. He's such a strong AP jungler. He clears so incredibly fast, even with the nerfs we've seen in this recent patch to his shield plus his CDR, his cooldown on that. It's a champion that we haven't seen, and I thought it would be really good into this comp, but obviously running that substitute jungler, maybe just wanted to get him on that comfort, but it's just wanted to throw out that pick that we haven't seen at all, but is kind of like that hidden OP that I'm excited to see as kind of the series progress. I do want to talk about some of the other games as we are just getting into lock-in phase. The Judge Reformed have 3-0'd Shadowblade Slash and are now pretty much locked into that 6th seed for the playoffs. Great play from them, kind of pulling out that really clutch win, really needed that to make sure that they had playoffs secured, and it is going to be eliminating Shadowblade Slash, I believe, from playoff contention, unless... No, I believe they have been pretty much mathematically eliminated from playoffs, so it should be Judge Reform locking up that 6th seed. Bucky, Stratosphere, and Death Cards Academy have now gone 1-1. Bucky's picked up game number 1, Death Cards have picked up game number 2. Going into game number 3, they're looking to kind of take a hold and see who's going to be kind of securing up that 3rd or 4th seed. But we transition back into this game, Cam. The comps are rounded out, their champions are all in place. Who do you favor? You've mentioned that you like No Fear Wolves in terms of ease of execution. What do you want No Fear Wolves to do, especially in that early game, to really get this comp rolling?
I mean, I'm really looking towards Skiz on the Xin Zhao to find those invades that he needs, just because how easy it is to follow up, especially with the Galio and the Braum that I was mentioning earlier. It's just, you've got to find these invades, you've got to find these early ganks on the Xin Zhao to make sure that you are doing as much as we are expecting Shin Yuna to be doing on this Lee Sin, as both of them are very early and a little bit mid-game junglers, so both of them going to be going for these early ganks. So hopefully seeing some more from No Fear Wolves to be able to take this game 3.
I will say, for my prediction, I agree with you. I think No Fear Wolves will probably take game number 3. I think that Fever have kind of sadly locked themselves into a really difficult comp to execute. I think they can. I think that the players, especially, this is going to be Evil Zara's game, because there's so much magic damage from the top and mid that Galio is going to be so supremely effective this game. Xin Zhao as well, kind of being able to kind of disengage a lot of this these fights, so it's going to be really up to Evil Zara to get a lead in that bot lane. And if you're the side of Fever, I want Shin Yuna to say, I am going to clear my camps and then gank bot lane and make sure that you can get Zara ahead, because he is that threat. He is in that contention for all pro AD carry, and so you really want to give him those stats, because in this game there's a lot of kind of fear that if this game goes late, if this game goes to the mid game, you're fearful of the Vladimir, you're fearful of the Galio, and you're really fearful that Epic Fail Guy has another pop-off performance. But as we transition into game number 3, Icarus and Mac Dewey will be right with you all to serenade your ears. Game number 3 versus No Fear Wolves and Fever to lock up that second seed. Do not go anywhere, as we are going to have a banger game number 3 in this block 3. See you guys in just a little bit.
Hello, Summoners. Welcome back onto the Rift for game number 3 for the battle for second place. It's No Fear Wolves taking on Fever. Shout out Ivor for leading the raid into a very hype matchup. Both of these teams going back and forth. Fever picking up game number 1 in dominating fashion. No Fear Wolves answer right back in game number 2 with the Shurima shuffles coming in. Icarus looking at these team compositions headed in here for the final match. Which lane are you going to be watching most?
I'm really going to be keeping an eye on these bottom lanes. I think we've learned over the course of the past 2 games of the series that mid lane's just going to be a farm fest at the end of the day here with TL Providence and Cute Raichu. They're just going to be clearing out wave after wave here. Top side also some very unique champions, and so that'll be fun to watch. But in terms of where I think all this action is going to be happening, it's definitely still the bottom side of the map. You cannot lock in a Nautilus Kai'Sa lane in this meta, in this 3rd game of the series here, and not be going hyper aggressive, looking to play a very bloody early game based play style. And as I say that, I realize that it's a cold start from Evil Zara.
Usually so strong in the early game. Evil Zara looking to pick up that extra gold early on, as is Stubby. Fever looking to pop off with their team composition. You've got Providence on one of his comfort picks in the Orianna. Stubby's played the Kennen before and was successful. Rice Every Meal and Evil Zara on comfort picks as well here for game 3, Icarus.
And it just feels like we're kind of going back to comfort. Unfortunately for the side of Fever here, there is going to be a member of their team missing. It was mentioned during the Champions Select, but we do have Shin Yuna on this Lee Sin in the jungle. And I want to go back and look at that. He is a support player being substituted into the jungle, but he does have experience on this Lee Sin. Hold on, the flash, the hook.
Joshbox going to be taken down to half HP. What a prediction coming through. Rice Every Meal on point as soon as he gets level 2.
I'm not sure if that was as much of a prediction as it was Jushbox flashing in a straight line. You hate to see it if you're the Braum player there, feeling like you needed a flash. I honestly don't think it was necessary. I just don't see a world where Evil Zara and Rice Every Meal kill you at that level 2, even if that hook does land, just because Kai'Sa isn't super strong in the first stages of this game here, especially with that cold start for Evil Zara. Meanwhile, mid lane, we're going to get some trading back and forth here in the early game for sure between Cute Raichu and TL Providence, but I think it is just going to come back to this lane clearing. We'll see then powered auto attacks from Cute Raichu. He's going to be using those Winds of War as well, and eventually he'll just be looking to clear out wave after wave for this Galio.
Watch Skiz here in the bottom lane. Jushbox going to connect with the Winter's Bite. Shin Yuna on this Lee Sin pick, looking to make a big impact as a substitute, just like Cornstar has been doing, especially in game 2 for the side of No Fear Wolves. Which of these teams is gonna have the depth they need to secure second place headed into the final week of mid-league?
I don't know. Mactery, if you're asking me this as a legitimate question, my answer is I don't know. We've seen both of these teams here had very different performances in game 1 and game 2. We saw Fever, they got a really strong early lead on a hyper scaling composition in the first game, and then the second game we saw, you know, a fairly scaling composition that's strong coming out by No Fear Wolves, and they were the team that were able to find themselves some early lead. And now that we're coming into this game, we're seeing some comfort coming in for a lot of these players here. The Ophelio seems to be something Epic Fail Guy is comfortable on after that last game. Evilzar going back to his main 3 roster of champions. The Xayah and Tristana still bound out here, but I like to see that he is going back to the tried and true Kai'Sa here, something that he knows he can play. And this Nautilus for Rice Every Meal is also, again, that really comfortable pick here. And this is what you need to be bringing out in a game 3. You bring out the tried and true method that you believe that will give you the win if you're trying to lock in this second place bye into the playoffs.
Skiz looking around the mid lane for a potential gank. The taunt does connect. Providence going to be saving that flash. The knockup comes through. Skiz not going to make the same mistake twice, just like in game 1. Ganking the mid lane early, but this time around, Icarus not going under the turret.
He's able to force the flash out of TL Providence. We're going to have to keep an eye on that summoner spell moving on forward, because his Orianna has the phase rush, which almost saved Providence's life, but without that flash, oh, there it is.
Speaking of no flash available, the lightning strike from Skiz is going to connect, and that's going to be the No Fear Wolves picking up first blood in this critical match.
Immediate returns on that successful gank there by Skiz. The flash coming up by Cute Raichu this time in order to get the CC and line up the win into lightning there. Skiz finds first blood, and this is exactly what you need if you're running the Jin Chao in the jungle. He is an early game bruiser that wants to be going toe-to-toe with his opponent. It will mean that he's able to pick up that early Iron Spike whip for himself versus just the pickaxe for Shin Yuna. And we're going back to these jungle matchups. We're going back to this Lee Sin versus Xin Zhao, because these are both very early game focused champions. So getting that first blood is so important here for No Fear Wolves.
Skiz going for a little bit of a different build, as I remember Gunjin talking about game number 1, Arrays and Nashor's Tooth. Xin Zhao not going to be the choice here for Skiz, as we see Fever with the reset coming in the bot lane, in the mid lane. This is their window of opportunity to pick up the first objective of the game. It looks like the Cloud Drake going to be all theirs.
And this is the first time in our block of 3 that we're going to see first Dragon going over to the red side team here, but it is again off the back of that reset from the bottom lane here of No Fear Wolves. I do like to see this rotation coming in from Rice Every Meal. Great heads up play to move towards this mid lane. They could punish this engage here from Cute Raichu.
He does spot them. The dredge line not coming out. Skiz has got to be real careful here. 4 members of Fever on the top side of this map. A weird explosive cone. Skiz gonna get caught in the lightning storm of Stubby. Surrounded now. Skiz gonna try to get out of here. Not level 6. No flash available. Rice Every Meal not gonna take the kill. It's going over to Providence. Misses the dredge line onto Cute Raichu. That's gonna be a kill for Fever, even us up here.
and just a little lack in communication there coming in from the mid jungle duo of No Fear Wolves. Cute Raichu saw that Rice Every Meal was there. He saw that Shin, Yuna, and TL Providence were rotating over, and he should have let Skiz know when he was going into the enemy side of the jungle, and he gets pincered up on that top side of the map and goes down for his efforts there. You have for his blood, but you give a kill back over to the mid laner here of Fever. Meanwhile, this entire time though will mean that you have priority on the bottom side, so it's going to give Epic Fail guys some extra plating here, as it's Evil Zara that's left this time around in this third and final game of the best of 3 here to solo lane.
We see Skiz and Cute Raichu now headed up to the top lane. There's the hero's entrance coming in. That's going to be the kill coming in. Cornstar finishing him off with the ultimate. Now it's Shin Yuna, level 5 Lee Sin, going to get taunted up, going to get evaporated. It's a double kill for Cornstar. The substitute top laner for the No Fear Wolves is making it work, taking on Stubby of all people. 2-0 now on the Vladimir.
Chef's kiss to No Fear Wolves there. We always got to give one out during every broadcast. Mac Dewey excellently performed turret dive there, and I think one of the first successful turret dives that didn't result in kills being traded at the end of the day here, coming out by No Fear Wolves in the 3rd game here, and it's going to be accelerating this Vladimir on the top side of the map. We haven't really got to talk about the Vladimir versus Kennen matchup too much. Both scaling AP top side traders that have that bit of that range, that have that team fight prowess, and when you're giving it to Vladimir, he's going to be coming into these mid to late game stages with a lot of sustain, and accelerating him forward is exactly what Cornstar wants.
And this is how No Fear Wolves attacked Stubby in game 2, throwing so much attention
right back
for Cornstar. Look at Skiz, still in the top lane, but look at the vision control. 3 control wards for Fever across the map, trying to stay in it, but that's going to be the previously picked up Rift Herald, already used by Skiz. The top lane is the route that No Fear Wolves are going with. Icarus, they're playing through the sub.
It's really quite an interesting strategy here. We might have an engage coming to the bottom side though.
Shin Yuna now level 6, flash kick, that's gonna be a kill onto Jushbox, beautifully done from the Fever substitute, trying to fill in Zhongi's shoes now. Epic Fail guy, he's got Crescendum, he's got Calibrum, can he figure it out here? 3v1 under the turret, he's got 1 kill. Evil Zara, you've got tower aggro. Epic Fail guy, he's bracking Fever under the turret. Rice Every Meal gonna try to run for the hills, but I think he might get picked up as well.
Oh, you can't make it away here, Skiz. Oh, like ships might be best, but Epic Fail guy with an epic play. You could put that in your epic montage. Add epic to everything here. He finds the killing spree for himself. He fends off a 1 versus 3 turret dive on the top side of the map. I think Cornstar, he wants another kill here. He's gonna find one more. God, every time they are just taking control of this game, and No Fear Wolves are not holding back. There is no fear for this team as the pack is just on a map-wide hunt.
Wow, here at the 11-minute mark, almost a 4,000 gold lead as the tower dive goes wrong in the bot lane, as the top lane for No Fear Wolves is going oh so right. 3-0 Vladimir, 3-0 of Felios, 5 kills up ahead, and the No Fear Wolves are hunting for that 2nd place. Jushbox gonna get caught by the hook, meanwhile, just trying to clear some vision in the river. Does have splash available, is gonna avoid the shockwave Icarus, and he manages to get out.
2nd time there, Jushbox almost got picked off away from his team. Fantastic flash over the wall in order to keep him alive here, but the 2nd Drake spawning onto the map. It is going to be a lot of summoners down for both teams here. I do want to point out that Evil Zara will soon have that killer instinct, also does have that flash available, but Epic Fail guy does not. This is the opportunity that Fever might be looking for to try and bring themselves back into this game. With the missing summoner spells on this AD carry, you make a pick onto the Aphelios, and Epic Fail guy goes down. That's an extra 300 gold shutdown, as well as the 2nd Drake of the game for yourself.
The control is there for the No Fear Wolves, but it looks like Shin Yuna in company want to try to make a contest. Teleport's coming in. It's Stubby with the ultimate. It's Stubby with flash available. They want to look for the fight. Here comes the engage. Stubby's got everyone in the lightning storm, and Fever's trying to turn it around, but Cornstar kill. Can he make it 3? Yes, he can. Fever fail at the dragon. They look for the fight, and the No Fear Wolves get the ace.
Pornstar didn't even have teleport there. He walks down. The heads up play from the substitute top laner of No Fear Wolves is absolutely carrying his team here in game number 3. MacDewey 6-0-2. He finds a huge use of the Tides of Bloods there, hits 5 members of Fever, gets the Emo Plague to clean up the rest of the team as everybody is trying to pile on, and it was looking so good there for Fever. Stubby, fantastic teleport, amazing slicing Maelstrom, but it just wasn't quite enough when the 5 members of No Fear Wolves are just ahead at this stage of the game, and now it's a 4,000 gold lead at 13.5 minutes, MacDewey.
No Fear Wolves, it feels like they know exactly what they need to do in these team fights. They're making it work. Cornstar holding his ground as the slicing Maelstrom comes in. They were ready for the fight. The team, since game number 1, falling quickly in that one, they've turned things around in with kind of these, I feel like, unexpected drafts. You know, when was the last time we've seen Vladimir in the top lane in mid league here? Epic Fail Guy doing massive work on this Aphelios. No Fear Wolves making a really strong case for themselves here, kind of going under the radar. I feel like through the middle of this season as teams like Death Cards and Bucky's started to rise up. No Fear Wolves consistently performing. They have a 14-6 record as of right now, looking for win number 15 here.
I think there's a team rolling in their grave over in Heavy League. I don't think they're playing this season around, but Vlad banners only are definitely not happy to see this game going through here for No Fear Wolves. 6-0-2 on this Vladimir, 3-1-3. Some engages going on in the mid lane, though. I think it should be safely disengaged here with that amazing Crescent Guard. The reason that the Jin Zhao is so strong, and the reason I kind of like this build that he's going for himself, he just needs to survive in team fights. And by going with this Gore Drinker instead of going the Divine Sunderer build, which is a little bit squishier, it means that Skizz is going to be sustaining in these team fights. That's going to provide an opportunity as this game continues to go out, and as we see more 5v5s, for him to buy time for the hero's entrance, which will therefore buy time for the Moonlight Vigil, the Glacial Fissure, the Hemo Plague to all come out here. A lot of very large AoE teamfight ultimates on the side of No Fear Wolves, and when their game has been accelerated this far ahead of their opponents throughout the early stages of this game, it only makes it harder for Fever, who likes to take team fights, especially looking towards this dragon coming in a minute 30 here, or minute 45. Makes it so difficult for them to continue to play this game because they're going to go for this fight. That's what they do. It's how they play the game. And I need to see them try and find picks rather than continue to just throw all 5 members, all 5 of their bodies at their opponents time and time again.
And as an ADC main yourself, Icarus, quite the bot lane connoisseur. Kai'Sa, one of those champions we talked about before. We heard the analyst desk really go into it a little bit during the draft for game 3. Evil Zara looks like he's going to be going for the collector second item. I really just don't think after the nerfs that this is the way to go. What do you think?
I'm going to be honest with you here, MacDewey. I just don't think Kai'Sa's the way to go in general. The collector nerfs really hitting that Catherine Rain upgrade makes it difficult for you to have a fairly solid second item to build if you're looking to be going towards that 100 AD power spike. And on top of that, Kai'Sa just has received several nerfs over several patches. The last one not being the biggest nerf of them, which was the cooldown being increased on the early game in Catherine Rain. But it's just all the accumulation of all of those nerfs coming together that makes this champion a little lackluster when you could be picking up something like the Aphelios here. With the Caitlyn in game 1, I thought was stellar. Ezreal for a while before the recent nerfs were also really good. But, you know, that's where we come back to Fever's big weakness, the champion pools, them only really having a couple of champions that they're comfortable on the AD carry and support position, jungle position. But hold on, and engage.
Providence trying to make this fight work. Rise Every Meal coming in as the Cavalry. Epic Fail Guy has got their back, but Stumpy with the flank! He's slicing through the No Fear Wolves! Epic Fail Guy is all alone as you blink. You might have missed that fight. Stubby
This is
with a
the shotgun,
huge
no?
flank, but look at the 200 years. One more auto from downtown. Epic fail guy with a return kill. Oh my goodness. Fever still, I think, Ekura is going to be able to pick up this drag.
That's gonna add another year onto the life of Evil Zara. They're stressing out as he has to watch all of those chakrams chase him down to the river. He thought for a second that he's gonna make it out alive. He even pops the heal, but unfortunately does go down. But what's really important there is we finally see the picks coming out here for Fever. They're able to get a 5-man collapse on only 3 members of No Fear Wolves here. They're able to pick up themselves a dragon as well. Oh, for a second there, I thought I lagged out because the game only focused on a still screen for a moment. I was like, what's going on? But that's really big here. That's going to be a potential avenue for Fever to get back in this game because now they're the team with the dragon advantages as we're looking towards this Ocean's Bowl.
And they are sticking in this one, even though it was a huge ace earlier, coming around that second Drake, I believe it was, Icarus. No Fear Wolves not doing the best job, I think, here, extending their lead, the gold lead, back again around the 4,000 mark, close to it. I think it was a little bit more on the side of No Fear Wolves. You rewind the clock just a couple minutes before. Stubby needs to continue finding those huge cannon slicing maelstroms. He did such a great job in that last fight. Now it's going to be up to No Fear Wolves and maybe even just Cornstar on this huge Vladimir. He's got the Medjai's picked up. Icarus could be a huge star in this big match.
I love seeing the Medjais. It's one of my favorite items. It's actually surprisingly gold efficient as well, which is weird to say because this item's supposed to be a high risk, high reward pickup, but it received a couple of buffs over the patches over the years, and it's actually really efficient at only 10 to 15 stacks. So not a bad pickup here for Cornstar, who did start off with that Dark Seal and kind of just went straight into that early Medjais with so many stacks on it here. But I want to go back to your point that you were mentioning, Mac Dewey. It feels like No Fear Wolves are starting to fall off just a little bit in their aggression, and that's because they had that flounder around the dragon pit just a couple of minutes ago. I need to see them look for better ward coverage here. The top side is warded up to the 9, yes, but if you're going to be going for these deep invades, these deep pushes on the bottom side of the map, you need to have the ward coverage to be able to back that up there as well. You can't only focus on Cornstar unless you're going to be playing around Cornstar.
And even just look at Evil Zara getting that 2-item power spike just a little bit before Epic Fail Guy, who's going for the Phantom Dancer once again on the affiliates. I believe that was his choice last game, right? Over the Ruans. And
it's an interesting pickup. I definitely think that Hurricane's better here.
And especially considering like the massive team fights that we've already seen so far, you know, it's just going to be more. We're going up the roller coaster in just a little bit. Mark your clocks for about 2 minutes for this next big Drake fight, as Fever have a massive incentive to get down there because they want to get on the Soul Point, and No Fear Wolves really want to cut that rope now, wants to try to get back in the Dragon game.
I think the biggest reason for this Phantom Dancer is, again, like last game, he had a couple of members that were looking to really dive on top of him, the Viego being the biggest one. This time around, it actually makes a little bit more sense in this game because you're looking at not just one real bruiser that's going to try and dive on you. You're looking at Stubby. You're looking at the Shin Yuna and TL Providence Wombo combo with that Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike, and Shockwave. There's a lot of potential burst damage coming in here from the side of Fever. They're never really quite out of this team fight unless the gold lead gets so substantially far ahead that you just get beat by the wallet here, Mac Dewey. And I don't think that's really where No Fear Wolves is at yet. In fact, as you mentioned, that gold lead slowly slipping away the further and further this game goes. Dragon spawning in a minute 05 here, so this is going to probably be the next big team fight here. I need to see your No Fear Wolves actually group up this time around and be prepared to take a 5-on-5.
Stubby stuck in the top lane, teleport available, has Zhonya's Hourglass completed, but no real good flank wards here. It's still 45 seconds before the dragon. Gotta keep very close attention on how Rice Every Meal on the support pick is going to be setting up Stubby for success.
this could be the team fight to determine it all. MacDewey, wards are being cleared out on the top side of the map. We have to keep in mind what is at stake in this third and final game of the series here. This is most likely going to be the game that determines who comes away with the head-to-head matchup for that second place playoff bye here, unless something happens further on down the line. Or actually, with next week's matchups, it could be a little bit scary here, but this is the engage.
Cornstar caught out the hero he's needed. He's holding out for Cute Raichu to come in. The Zhonya's Hourglass making it work. Cornstar falls. Cute Raichu trying to buy time for the rest of the team to join the engage. Skiz now looking to kite back. Providence hits the shockwave right onto the ins out. A huge taunt coming in. Cute Raichu finds two. He's getting the fight for No Fear Wolves. A huge hero coming through in game 3. Exactly what the pack needed. They rally around Cornstar and they turn that one around.
What a massive team fight coming in here for the side of No Fear Wolves. Yes, Cornstar gets picked off at the very start of that fight. He gives over that bounty, but Baron is secured off of the back of how much time he was able to buy for the rest of the pack to show up there. You have Galio coming in with a heroic entrance, using that sanguine pool, using the hourglass just to be able to stall out for that heroics entrance, allowing the rest of the side of No Fear Wolves to show up. They immediately rotate down to this dragon as well, tying it up 2-2 apiece here. This game is just as close as ever if we're ignoring the gold, but we cannot. MacDewey 6,000 gold in the lead now for No Fear Wolves. They're finally finding that advantage that they were struggling to pick up for the past couple of minutes.
No longer do they have to worry about a sneaky soul coming through for Fever. No Fear Wolves set themselves up for success. Cute Raichu with the support mid lane game of his life. Huge taunts coming through, a big ultimate onto Cornstar to turn that one around to buy time for the Wolves to find their way to the Baron pit. It's going to be a tough comeback now for Fever, but they still have some crazy engage tools available. Here is one of them. Death Charge onto Skiz. Shin Yuna looking for a kick that he needs. The kick heard around the world, not coming through just yet. It's Rice Every Meal taken down first. Stubby doesn't have a way into the fight. Icarus Fever lose one member there. Rice Every Meal looking for something that just really wasn't there.
And that's where the over-aggression from Fever bites them in the butt one more time here, MacDewey. That's a 4v5-2. Cornstar is on the top side of the map. This Baron is going to be applying pressure in two different lanes here, the mid lane and top side of the map. That top lane inner turret should be going down in just a second here. Now it's going to be applying powered minions into the middle lane as well once that wave starts to crash. Great use of this Baron power play in order to continue to apply pressure across the map.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to be enough, though, to start thinking about closing this one out. You don't want to leave the window open too long for Fever to try to find the magic teamfight wombo combo. Their composition is designed to look for. Stubby already found one slicing maelstrom to keep this game close. He's going to have to find another to really make a difference. Here's the No Fear Wolves, after what was a rough game 1, have turned around their draft, turned around their mindset in gameplay to take it straight to Fever here in game 2 and now game 3.
Great macro play coming in here. I like to see that they saw their mid lane minion wave go down. They immediately rotate down towards the bottom side. They pick up this minion wave, and they've just been shoving out every single wave here as well. Vladimir finally joins with them. They're not able to pick up the inhibitor, but they find the inhibitor turret as this Baron power play should be wearing off in just a few moments here. If I take a look really quick, I think it actually just completely worn off. So at the end of the day, they find themselves at least 3 turrets, open up an inhibitor in one of the lanes as well. So no super minions just quite yet, but it is now an 8,000 gold lead. This game is slowly slipping out of the grasp of Fever here, and I want to see another flank play. I need to see them look for something here because this game is just so close.
Evil Zara the carry for Fever, the potential all-pro ADC who's been put in the whole league on notice, excuse me. He's been doing a solid job with the CS through this series with his items coming now online. He's got 3 of them completed. Do you think he stands a chance, Icarus, to try to pull this one out for Fever?
I mean, 5, 1, and 2, 3 items completed. He is looking so strong.
Oh my
here. Flash
goodness.
forward. Oh my.
Cornstar needs to finish off what he started in Stubby, just obliterated. No magic resist on the Kennen. The Void Missile missing. It's a 1v3, but I gotta think, even without his ultimate, Cornstar may be the favorite.
I want to go back to something that we were talking about earlier, Mac Dewey. The amount of pressure that is on both of these teams here. Stubby going down on the top side of the map isn't going to be the end of the world here. And if you lose this game here for the side of Fever, it does not mean all doom and gloom. Yes, this is such an important matchup between these 2 second place teams here. But when we look at next week, there are still games to be played. We have to be looking into the future here. We have to be looking towards playoffs for that second place team. And while No Fear Wolves are looking very good here as the second place team, facing off against another 13 and 5 placeholder next week, they are going to have their toughest match yet versus CB Rush. Meanwhile, Fever, they're going to be placing off against that 6th place team in Degenerates Reform. So a win here could make or break the lead here for No Fear Wolves, holding the advantage over Fever when they play their games next week. It's an exciting series here. Baron spawning onto the map in 40 seconds here. Dragon spawning right now. It's going to be picked up by the side of No Fear Wolves as Fever, they have their eyes set on the Baron.
Seeing the bigger threat potentially on the map, they know they can give this one away, Icarus, and not worry too much. But look at Jushbox, always his foot on the gas pedal. That's going to be Providence, picked off. CC chain coming through, nothing he could do about that one. Didn't see it come in. Flash still available, wasn't able to get out of that one.
Unfortunate pick there for the side of Fever there. You cannot be losing your mid laner when this Baron is spawning onto the map already. No Fear Wolves immediately make their way over to this one. Aphelios and Jinja are going to be shredding through that one. Cute right here. He wants to try and teleport out here. He's going to get most of it. Oh!
Flash from Rice every meal to interrupt the channel. Baron Nashor secured. Q Raichu trying to flash out. That's going to be both ultimates coming out of the bot lane. The pings are coming from the No Fear Wolves to head up top with the Baron power play.
I don't think that's worth it if you're looking at Fever. You gave over the Baron here and you used a couple of your key ultimates for this upcoming team fight. You're going to have those available now that that top lane inhibitor is going to be going down. You won't have that guaranteed engage from Nalus. You won't have that killer instinct from the Kaisa either. And yes, you pick up Galio, but at what cost? Now you're going to be giving over this inhibitor, and a quick rotation to the bottom side of the map should mean a second one as well.
What did it cost, little one? It looks like everything, as the 4 members of No Fear Wolves are marching in so strong, so ahead. The miracle kick. Skiz is just fine. The Crescent Guard coming up. They're looking to pop off. Stubby a little slow on the slicing Maelstrom. Epic fail guy. He's going to pick up a double kill here as Cornstar finishes with a killing spree. We hit the 30-minute mark. The second Baron for No Fear Wolves looks like it's going to be the dagger in this series.
You can go grab the bottom wave here. No Fear Wolves are stalling this one out. They want to try and find their engage onto the opponent, but surely as time ticks on here, that second minion wave does come in here. The re-engage, they're looking to pad the KDAs, take down TL Providence one more time here, as it is No Fear Wolves that come out ahead in the third and final game of this block of threes. Mac Dewey 2-1 going over to the No Fear Wolves.
Called it in pre-show, baby. Woo! Mac and Gunjin right on the money, baby. Can't mess with the No Fear Wolves synergy. That was a banger series. Fever, such a good job here, dominating game number 1, but the series gets turned on its head. No Fear Wolves bringing it back with the substitute in the top lane. we gotta think Cornstar maybe gonna be making a regular return to the lineup. I mean, that was against one of the top laners in the league. Stubby having a tough series, Providence having a tough series. The No Fear Wolves looking good headed into the playoffs, Icarus.
And yes, Cornstar did a lot of work there, but I loved the approach to this game that No Fear Wolves brought into it. Even with the scaling style of gameplay that both of these teams like to play here, I like to see that No Fear Wolves understood that the top side of the map is where Fever likes to play aggressively in the early stages of the game. So they said, you know what? You like to play around Stubby early on. You like to have Zongi go for those top lane scuttle crabs. We'll match that. We'll fight you, and we'll pick very aggressive laners that are going to enjoy taking these kinds of fights and then camp that lane as well. How many times did we see Cornstar get ganked by Sejuani in the early stages of game 2 there? And then we saw Skiz just double return gank the mid lane, double return the top side of this map in order to make sure this Vladimir got ahead and putting Cornstar on a pedestal for his team. Yes, he did a fantastic job carrying away with that game, but it goes to all of No Fear Wolves to have such a fantastic game plan coming into this series.
A team effort is going to earn them sole possession of second place here at the end of week number 8 in mid-league. That's going to do it for the cast, but we've got the post-game interview coming up in a little bit. But before that, we're going to get another wonderful breakdown of this fantastic series and an incredible Game 3 by our lovely analyst desk. Cam Gunjan, take it away.
Cam, what a game number 3. All of the things that we talked about, all of the things we mentioned, it came to... Oh,
Gunjan, you're muted in Discord.
What would it be? What would mid-league broadcast be without me being muted? Fantastic. But what a game number 3 from No Fear Wolves. Everything we talked about happened. Everything we even mentioned happened. We are future tellers. We're the smartest analysts ever. How do you feel about that game number 3?
Absolutely. I called it from the beginning. I said 2-1 for No Fear Wolves, and it happened.
No. Okay, I'll give you it.
Yes. Big brain. We big brained it.
Big brain, but big brains we can't just leave it on to big brains, because in game number 3, it was really a team effort, as Mac and Icarus were talking about, especially in that top side. Again, Cornstar had a great game number 3, again, where he was set up to carry, and he did do his job incredibly well. But in that early game, again, Stubby is not being allowed to move. He's not being allowed to play. They are taking his mouse away, because every single time at 9 minutes, it's a 3-man top lane. They kill him, they kill his jungler, wait for him to TP back, and then drop the Rift Herald and give such a massive gold lead to Cornstar in that Vlad versus Kennen matchup, which is so volatile, because that matchup, especially once the one items hit, is basically who can kill each other first. And Cornstar, with such a gold lead, with the Proto Belt and the Dark Seal at 10 stacks, was just able to run down Stubby over and over again. And he was really the big kind of breaker of that team, because they were never able to get much pressure in the top side, and they always would have to overstack that lane, causing all the other lanes to kind of fall apart.
Absolutely, and we can't talk about that game 3 without talking about bot lane for Epic Fail Guy and Josh Box there, as Epic Fail Guy finding an extended triple kill in a 1v3 underneath his own tower, just cementing himself as such an insane ADC in that early game, just finding a triple kill literally all on his own underneath this tower. They thought that they were going to kill him, and they thought very wrong.
Yeah, that was something I was actually going to criticize, because that play happened right after the top lane play. So I was going to say Epic and Justbox were playing a little bit too over aggressively. But again, the 200 years happened. Zara, Rice, and Shin Yuna thought they could just CC Epic Fail Guy down. He had the correct guns. He was just able to completely take over, and he made them pay. And again, No Fear Wolves now take the 2-1 lead. They also take the series lead. So now going into week number 9, they pretty much locked in Seed 2. CB Rush is also locked in Seed 1. And I just want to mention some of the other games and get your opinions on it. We did talk about it after game 2, but the Gens Reformed have 3-0 Shadowblade Slash, guaranteeing them the 6th seed. How do you feel about that, and kind of the Gens Reformed rising up from literally bottom of the standings to now they're a playoff team and look like they could kind of be a dark horse?
Absolutely. I mean, at the beginning of this series, I do believe it was week 1 or week 2 where they were just going 0-3 every single week, even against some of the lower ranked teams. And now being able to take games off of these top teams, I do believe if they were able to take a game off of CB Rushes, if their schedule did have CB Rush later on, then they could have very well been top contenders. And now getting to see them in playoffs and getting to see them play with this new roster against these top teams once again should definitely be very fun to watch.
And I'm definitely excited. And Degenerates Reform, with the standings that there are right now, should match up against Fever in that first quarterfinal matchup. But regardless of Fever, let's talk about the winners. Let's talk about No
Yes.
Fear Wolves. And now we have their star in the top lane, the substitute who's now played 2 series. Looks like he's kind of blossoming into that top lane talent. Cornstar, Mac, and Icarus, take it away.